I have my data in an SQL database, and I want to compare today's stock price with yesterday's stock price to see what my daily return is. I can't figure out how to do it with an SQL query.
A long time ago, that would have been a very hard thing to do. Now, there is a simple lead or lag function to accomplish this task.
Great! What is lead and lag?
The lead function is used to access data from subsequent rows along with the data from the current row. The lag function is used to access data from the previous rows along with data from the current row.
What about the order by and the partition by?
An order by clause is required when working with lead and lag functions, but a partition by clause is optional.
Do you have an example?
Assume that you have an SQL stock data table with this structure. Assume some sample data like this. Further assume we want to calculate the day-to-day closing price change for each ticker symbol.
Okay, what is the formula for the change?
The change is referred to as the daily return. The daily return is calculated as today's closing price minus yesterday's closing price, and all of that divided by yesterday's closing price.
Thank you. Do you have an SQL example?
Yes. Here's a query that returns the closing price for the current row, the closing price for the previous row, and the closing price for the next row. Notice the use of the lead and the lag functions that are used to retrieve the next day and the previous day's prices. Notice also the partition by ticker symbol and ordering by the trade date. We have to partition by the ticker symbol because the returns are calculated for each ticker symbol. We have to order by the trade date so that we can make the return calculation.
That is exactly what I wanted. Do you have the results?
Here are the results. Notice the current row price, the next row price, and the previous row closing price.
Okay. Can you do something like that to calculate the daily return?
Here then is the query that displays the daily return. Here is the closing price minus the previous day's closing price, and that whole thing is divided by yesterday's closing price. In summary, the lead and lag window functions implement the daily return formula. Here are the results. Notice the slight decrease in price from the first row to the second row, which is why there is a negative return on the second row.
Why is the daily return for the first day null?
Great question. There is no previous day in the data set, so a null is returned.
It seems so easy now that you showed how it works. Thanks again.